Hello again. So I recorded this one earlier, but then dogs were going nuts and sirens were blaring. Like, this is just not a good time. But let's pick up where we were at working on our landscape. The only thing I've done off camera is just finish painting all the backside of all the mountains. So other than that, I haven't done much. I've tried to put it back to where it was beginning of this video, but let's just pick up where we were. So first thing I want to do is I want to kind of define where our town's going to be and the little trails, and then we'll be able to sculpt the landscape a little bit better. So I'm going to go to my paint, go to my dirt layer. This is what I'm going to use for a trail. I like 250, it works pretty good because it's just a little bit wider than the character, and once we blend it a little bit, it'll blend in a bit. So I'm just going to kind of draw a circle where I want the town to be right now. And then I'm just going to kind of put a winding little trail. Just all the way to where the water's going to start. So that looks decent for now. You know what? I'm going to erase that part. And just kind of come on that way. Okay, well now it just kind of looks dirty, so I'm just going to erase that again. Oops. Okay. Just put it back the way it was, I guess. I'm going to have a little trail go off this way. And one off this way, because we'll have a mountain up here that they can actually scale, maybe. Why not? So now what I'm going to do is kind of sculpt it a little bit more. So I'm going to set this to about 0.3 and this to about 1,000. I'm just going to, oh, I'll set to 0.6. And then I'm going to switch to flatten with the flatten target. Checkbox checked. I'll with this eyedropper select the height that I want to flatten everything to. Flatten mode, I only want to raise, I don't want to lower it at all, so I can click anywhere now and it'll bring it up to that height. Ooh. Okay. Then I can just kind of paint around so I have my plateau at that height. And now what I want, are you serious? Okay. Just want to pick another spot, let's say about here. And then I want to set this to raise only so that I can paint around and it won't lower this back down to where it was. So just kind of paint around a little bit. Go ahead and connect it over to this part. And just like that. And I'll pick one more spot just a little bit above character height. Well, that's a good deal above character height. So, and now I just want to lower, I don't want to raise it at all. So just kind of carve out. I like using the flatten tool because it gives you kind of nice looking ridges around. I'll flatten this side a little bit. I'm going to set it to raise only, and then I can paint out from there. I'm just going to go ahead and take that back out. Back in the sculpt tool, I'm going to select ramp. And what this does is I can click a point right here and up somewhere else, and just as the name implies, boom, add a ramp. Which actually kind of bring it in a little bit and then add a ramp. There we go. And then I can reset and Add a ramp. That might be too steep. We'll find out. Maybe not. Let's just run that real quick. Right. We'll add a sprint function in there after we get the level base set up at least. Well, it's runnable. It's a bit steep. You can change it if you like. Works for me for now, and I'm just gonna have. Let's see, back into sculpt. And I don't want them to be able to run off this way, so I'm just gonna kind of border that in. And ramp again. Set it all the way to there. Ramp width, I'm going to drop that down this time. Add a ramp. Reset. Add ramp. That looks terrible. Undo. In fact, you know what? Undo both of them. And I'll reset. And from about here to about there, I'll add a ramp. Maybe that way's better. It's a bit big of a ramp, but they always turn out big for me at first. Oh, that's a noise. Oh, but I don't want that much strength. I want to set that to about 0.2. And then what this does is it just kind of varies it up a little bit. See that? So you can go through and it'll just kind of add some more. Whoa. Undo those last two, but it'll add some. Jeez, maybe 0.2 is too much. Let's try 0.05. And we'll set it to both. That way it randomizes between the two. And then you can just kind of paint out. And see, it'll add some nice effect to it, to where it looks less artificial. And then you can go over and smooth it for the parts that you want to be a little bit smoother. That's actually looking decent. If anybody wants a dog, let me know. It's my sister's dog, but be protective. I'll definitely let you know if there's any other dogs in the yard. Other people, he won't say nothing, but other dogs, goes nuts. So you can use that noise tool to just kind of vary it up a bit. Then you switch to your smooth brush. I'm going to set that down to 0.01. And it's always when I'm trying to record these things, all day long, he'll be quiet. I come out here, just kind of smooth them out a little bit. You want the variance, but you don't want it to be too jagged looking. It's like that smooth tool comes in handy too. I'm going to switch on the detail smooth. Just kind of go over this a little bit. And it'll help fix that texture stretching. Actually, I'm going to knock off that detail smooth for now and just go over it. Because we're going to paint this with the rock texture too. But we don't want it stretched out like that. So you can smooth it down and it'll fix that texture issue, and you can retopologize it, which will also help fix that texture issue. I don't like to be too heavy on the retopology tool, just because I've had it cut some of the seams in the terrain before. And I'll just knock you out a little bit. You definitely. But we'll go ahead and do that one too, which retopologize. You won't really be able to see too much when we're looking at it like this. It doesn't look like it's doing anything. But what it's doing, if we switch from lit to wireframe, you see how the squares are moving around. It helps to add more vertices and makes it to where the texture has more space to accurately display on. Rather than being all stretched out from the few vertices it has, you can add more to it. So just kind of painting around. It looks like it's altering the shape of it, but it's maintaining its shape and just adding vertices into the sections. So like if we switch back to lit, it's still the same height and everything, it's just the texture will look better. So, because you don't want any texture stretching, because they look bad. See, you can kind of tell it working when we have the lit mode going. I just personally like doing it in wireframe sometimes, because I can just kind of see which area I'm clicking is getting the best results, getting them to move into the area I want them to. And it looks like it's smoothing out that ramp, but it's really just smoothing out the texture on it while the ramp maintains. So you can do that to kind of add as many deformations as you want. I'm going to switch to my rock paint, bump it back up to 1, to kind of cover it real quick. Which I'm just going to cover it and then I'll paint the trail through it afterwards. I'm going to bump this down to about 500 because the paintbrush has a good, it'll stretch to these inclines pretty well. So see, we can do stuff like that for landscape editing. 250. Oop. See, there was a little bit of a seam right here. It's not an issue really, it's just kind of annoying. Oh, you can hold shift and left click and it'll apply one of the more recent texture you were using before. So see, now we got just a little snowy cap right there. If you like to, sometimes I like to go into unlit mode because it makes it easier to kind of see the angles of things. So if that works for you, then that works. So boom, you can add a mountain for your character to travel up. Oops. Now when you add ramps, sometimes you'll have it next to a wall and you don't want a gap in between the ramp and the wall. So what we can do is go into the sculpt menu, find our flatten tool, and disable the flatten target. And we're going to use slope flatten, because that will pull it all up to the same height, but on a slope. So I'm going to make sure it's on raise so that it only pulls up the bottom to meet it, and then there we go. Now you ain't got to worry about gaps for your character to fall into or nothing. Okay, so now back onto the noise texture. I'm going to set this 0.01 and the noise scale to 75. It doesn't have to be a power of 2. You can make it one if you want. I don't. I'm going to set into lit mode. But I'm going to adjust my light source real quick. 3.1 is usually a bit too much, so I'm going to set it to about 1. In my visual, in my lights, I'm going to drag out a sky. Never mind, already got one. Alright. So now I'm just going to kind of add a little bit of texture to this. Might not look like it's doing anything, but it's just because I don't want it to do too much too quick. Landscapes are one of those things that you'll spend a lot of time on it, and the more time you invest, the better it can look. It's increasing the aesthetics of your game. And it's a great way to stay in shape. I'll bump it up just a little bit. That might be. Let me just bump this back to 128. Oh. How about 100? Is it doing anything? Let's say 128.01. Now what we can do is we can go back to paint. I'm going to get my rock texture again, bump its strength up, and I'm going to take that all the way down to the ground, all the way down to the flat level. I'm going to select my dirt, set it to about 175, and I'm going to make this be an offshoot trail going up. Boom. Okay, now that's about too big, so 125. The trail gets a little narrower. And up to the top, and we'll put like a building up here or something. So I can't remember if I've said the storyline we were going to set quests up for, because we're going to go over cinematics and stuff like that, and we'll go over how to do quests and all that jazz. The storyline was going to be your town's been attacked, and you chase off the intruders, arm yourself with your country's weapons, and then sail off to their land to fight them. So we'll go over this kind of land, and we'll go over a grassland area. But for this one, because I don't want it to go on too long, and we're almost at 20 minutes, let's just get the water set up. So I'm going to drag out in my basic panel a cube right about here where I want the water to be. I'm going to set its scale to 1,000 by 1,000, and in my water materials pack in the permanently free collection, I'm going to drag this into place real quick. That looks decent. I'm going to get the water opaque and set it out, and look how pretty that is. Isn't that nice? Doesn't it make you want to go fishing? Look, it even got the reflection set up. It's nice. But I am going to drag it up a little bit. Oof. You can hit F and it'll zoom you out to see the entire object of what you've got selected. Sometimes when they're really big, it just messes up your viewpoint. So, paint snow. Let's kind of paint that a little bit. Oh, rock. Oh, right. One last thing for this video. Right now, the trail texture is a little bit kind of low res looking, kind of jagged. So what we're going to do is under our paint setting, we're going to go to smooth. I'm going to set this down to about 0.05 and I'm going to set this up to about 500. And I'm going to zoom out, go full screen with F11 so that I can see a little bit better. And I'm on smooth, brush size, set snow. There we go, okay. And I'm gonna just kind of smooth it all out. That actually might be too smooth. So I'm gonna drop it down to 0.01 and click on detail smooth. Back to full screen. Just kind of smooth over it. Doesn't look like it's having an effect. Maybe no detail smooth. Just kind of smooth over it. Just kind of play with values. This is all about just kind of messing around, figuring out what you like, what works for you. See what the smooth does is it kind of takes out that jaggedness, makes it look a little bit more like a snowy trail rather than a poorly painted on texture. I mean, mine is still a poorly painted on texture, but I'm sure yours looks a lot nicer than mine. So just smooth it on out. Oof. Smooth it. Boom. Just all along your trail. See, there's some more retopology issues, looks like. Maybe not. But that's why I don't like using that thing too much. So you can go through and add in some more mountains like this one, or however you want to do. That water blinks out. What is happening? Maybe that's not the water I'll use. What if it's doing that? If you want to see all your water, you can just hit content, type in water. How about the ocean? Oh, that looks weird. Lake. It's so flat. I guess the opaque will do. I don't know why it's blinking. Maybe it's just my computer. But in the next one we'll start, I'm gonna get that off screen. In the next one we'll start adding in some foliage and like the trees and everything. Some boulders, some random boulders. But for now, it's not looking too bad. Actually, you know what? For the next one, we're going to add in the sprint. Since we got this much area to cover now, we need to add in a sprint ability. So, see you all in the next one for that.